Yeah, say it again, Charles. What the hell were you talking about?
I said I was mad when I went to Walmart recently. Well, going to Walmart's bad enough recently, especially when you'd rather be going other places and supporting local business. And I saw they had a special freezer out, and there were geese in there. I was really upset about that. So, Steven's been busting my balls on it ever since. And I'm not real happy about it, and it makes me mad when I think about it, so.
Well, I just wondered what the hell was going on, because that's, in this situation here, you gotta understand something. Charles really does love geese, so it did actually bother him when he saw that, because he's like, but he understands also that we need to eat as living beings, and even as spiritual beings, we take in energy. We make and shape and create food, but it's more of a flowing, energetic kind of thing, and we do actually feed, and we eat, and after a period of time, we need certain kinds of energy. You kind of learn what tastes good and what doesn't, kind of like when you're a baby, it's the same thing. And then you get to anticipate and know the kind of energy that you can absorb. And once you get to that point, then you can begin to shape it into the reality of what you used to eat so that it tastes very much like that. Yes, we do have sense of taste. We actually have a sense of smell, touch. I mean, it's all the same thing except on a different wavelength. That's the only differences. So that's one of the questions that I know we get a lot is people are like, is it really, what we think it is, when you lose your physical body? And really, it's just a quick separation. And there are other beings that can tell you their experiences. It's a little bit different for each of us. And it is a bit of a jolt, a shock, and that's really the biggest thing that there is. It's just suddenly your awareness just changes. Yeah. And you go from being just sort of in this limited perception where you can only see what's in front of you, to all of a sudden everything around you seems to get bigger. And then you sort of lift up from the body, right? We call it the first breath, the first breath of death. I know that sounds terrible, but actually it's the first breath of a new life as you, it's sort of like when you burst out of the water and you've been swimming for a while holding your breath and you take that first deep breath. That is precisely what it's like. And it is exactly that feeling that is you're supposed to experience when you are, say, opened up to more energies, gain an energy level, become something more beautific. You turn into something that is eternal at that point, and you realize it, and then all of your past knowledge that is permitted to you returns to you, which is still going to be quite a bit, you see. But all that time beforehand when you're passing through, you see, you have only aware to you the awareness of that life, because if you did not gain the appropriate knowledge to be able to unlock your travels in the multiverse, then you have to filter through the resurrection machine again. The soul catcher, the device that's in the moon that harvests your souls at the time of death and that drain you of all your existing knowledge, and the energy and power that existed throughout that life is pulled from your soul and it is fused into the Akashic records that actually is a projection onto another plane of existence that is essentially, we like to call it Father's computer room, right? Because it stores all of this vast information of the multiverse. And if you can envision in your mind this great super cathedral that goes on almost to infinity on both directions, with sort of cloudy areas surrounding the main matrices of the machines, and you hear this constant hum of energy, because these are not just storage machines, but the soul machines that Father has that are in the Akashic records extend into eternity. And all of this is the great knowledge storage warehouse where all of the great information that is available to all the different races and all the different places across the multiverse, all that information is literally available through these records. And all you need is the appropriate energy to pass through and unlock some of these things. And I know we haven't had a big talk about the Akashic Records. That's usually something that people are quite interested in.
I've seen the Akashic Records are a list of everything and every life you've been, everything you've done, every skill you've learned, that you have access to at some point. And it's not that you're not going to get some of that now. You will. A lot of people are telling me that they're experiencing astral travel, their skin is changing or their eyes are changing. That's all part of the dimensions merging. And I believe on the 21st, December 21st, when the Great Conjunction came, it also helped dimensions join better.
That's
so
correct.
The 5th actually came into being.
That's really good that you brought that up, Victoria, because just the same way that the tumblers inside of a locking mechanism turn and must click and face into the right parameters in order for a lock to then be engaged to either lock or unlock a device, so are such energies written upon the universe, and that the combination necessary to unlock certain potentials therefore exists within the stars. And when the stars formulate and read and also fingerprint into a specific date and time, right down to the multi-second, this great turning clock of the universe, everything is spirals, remember? We've talked about spirals and the great spiral dance of, the universe and the planets, and the way everything moves is in spirals. Well, those spirals program certain events and days into the turning of the great wheel of time in the multiverse. And as this great clock turns and clicks, events are then programmed into the matrix portions of the multiverse, so that events can be programmed right down to the millisecond. So yes, there certainly are a certain amount of events that can be programmed the same way you would program your coffee to brew in the morning using your programmable brewer on your coffee mate, right? So it actually comes down to that. And all of this ties into the Akashic Records, because all learning is available to those beings that want to access it, unless they are under special provisional conditions, like the souls on this planet are, where their Akashic Records have been removed from them, firstly, in part, so that when you go to this world, you end up a blank slate, so that everything you learn becomes a gifted event. Because you see, Father has maintained one thing in the universe, that experience must be learned, and that only learned experience will unlock greater events that can take place, so that you can achieve greater levels of understanding, so that you can become a higher dimensional being, so you can further serve in Father's great army in some facet. That's what it was intended for, so that you could unlock certain abilities and things, so that you could learn certain things necessary, and then Father could match you up with the perfect job for you. It's, if you think about it, a very organized way to run the universe. After all, Father created the military, the armies, that was all, the ranks, all that stuff existed long before this planet did. So we find it fascinating, and we like to let people know these things, especially those of you that are further along the journey and can understand more of the things that we're talking about. A lot of what we're talking about now requires you to start shifting into your third dimension to properly hear what we are saying. That's why some of you will hear us saying things that make sense. Others will become a bit confused because they're not quite there yet. But if you really truly open up your third eye and listen with your eye, those of you that know what I'm saying understand what I'm telling you, and know that you will come forward into this, because all of you are great and powerful beings that will learn to take their place at some point in the universe, and then upon which, at that point, that power is established, you can then look back upon your earlier lives and affect change in your earlier lives by simply willing it to be. Think about that. The thoughts that you have, your higher self also has, and you can influence the way your higher self thinks so that it can affect positive change for you and your life right now in this game. You can begin to make positive changes. So you can start to say, for example, I'm wealthier. I know I am. I'm starting to attract more wealth to myself, more income so that I can have more money so that I'll be able to make some purchases and things that I will need to prepare for what's coming. And believe it or not, if you continue to do this long enough, you create a mental loop and a construct that will begin to work in your favor upon your higher self deciding that it will invest more wealth back to the earlier self, which it has the ability to do. So yes, you can actually ask your higher self, hey buddy, how about shaking loose a little pocket change here, okay? And that being will hear you because you are it and it is you, and your higher self will respond. See, this was the whole basis of that whole, you remember The Secret years ago they were talking about? Yeah. You just manifest something and it'll appear, but, not quite right away. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. And this is that part that we're talking about that actually works, because what you're doing is you're asking your higher self to take some of its current knowledge, wisdom, power, energy, and financing and send it to you. They can do that. Yes, and if you allow it to be, unless you're here under a special condition that you came here to experience poverty, but very few of us want to relive that life. So what we've done is once we've done it, we've checked off that box that Father wants us to. Okay, you know how to handle poverty. Fuck you, I'm not doing it again. I want some bucks. Okay? Well, I'm not saying that you become a greedy son of a bitch either, but that money then takes its rightful place as a powerful tool in the life of your family so that you can have more of these experiences and learn more things, you see. So wealth has its place, and it is not necessarily looked down upon by Father if you think of money as a form of stewardship that you use to help you and your family and others achieve better lives. So that's my lecture, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, that was a really good lecture. Actually, just today we've turned on the television to watch some of the events in DC, because honestly, guys, do you really think that these lizards that are losing, the Democrats and Chinese, they're just going to walk away from it?
Oh, no, they're going to pull some kind of crap.
They have to. They have to save face, or they have to make up a lie, because this is what all tyrants do. And this is just part of it. So we want you to be aware that for those of you who are not going, who have decided to stay at home, you may have made a wise decision in some ways. And I know that there are a lot of angry people out there telling others to be patriots right now, and I get that. But there's also the other cycle that a lot of people are not looking at, and this is a spiritual battle between the forces of light and dark, and they will fight with humanity in the center. So we just want you to know those things.
That's right. You just got to say that right, sister, because, well, let's just say it all be coming down to a lot of fun times in Fast Times in Ridgemont High. I believe that was the joke I heard at one point. But you could call me Sam if you wish.
Oh, hey, Sam, you're back again.
Oh, she making them good ribs again. I love them ribs. But I just want to say hello to everybody, and I hope everybody's doing well. You never know who pops in the show, do you, around here? It's always interesting to find out who's going to pop in and pop out, but I just wanted to say hello to all you beautiful people. There's a couple of you in particular I've been keeping an eye on, and I wanted to say thank you to all of you that have been so kind and supporting and helping out the Kellys. You know, it is a beautiful thing when people decide to give and do something nice for each other, because, man, we live in a world now where very little good come out of all that. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, that's so sad. So when you could do something nice for somebody else,
it helps you too. It's something inside you. It touches your heart. There's a connection when you give, you see. And I ain't talking about no fake, phony, fraud, pass the collection plate kind of giving. I'm talking about the kind of giving where you sitting down and you got 3 ribs left on your plate, and then there's 2 other little boys sitting there looking up at you. And you're going, damn, I'm going to give a rib to each one of these boys, and the 3 of us are going to have us a nice little dinner. That it's better to share, baby. And I tell you, that's when you know it matters. See, when you give, and you give a little bit or you give a lot, you give sometimes until you know that you did something good for someone else. And so today I want all y'all to think about that. I want you to think about maybe doing something nice for your neighbor, for your family, maybe even the Kellys. I'm not saying anything directly. It costs, a couple of dollars here and there on a donate key. It will help out. All of us take turns saying hello and hi, and we want to make sure that we can continue to bring you this. Ain't it ridiculous? Y'all live in this world where you need to just worry about money, money, money. Let me tell you, when you finally get past all that, it's going to be wonderful. You finally have a society that's just. It'll take care of everybody. Nobody has to slave and do things they don't want to do. That's not why you were put here on this planet. Father put you here to learn something. But then you got the other idiots playing the game, broke the rules, and took over everything and running the game they want to run in it. That made Father upset. He on his way, and his city coming right behind him too. So yeah, I mean, every deal out there telling everybody about this, and we don't believe you. You crazy. But a few months later, they all come back, don't they? Especially those of you listening that shouldn't be listening, if you know what I mean. I see all of you. Yeah, all y'all keeping an eye on every deal. See, well, maybe maybe I was a bit too harsh too soon. Well, it ain't too late to come back. We ain't asking you to be any kind of faith or anything like that. I'm talking about in your head. You have brains. Use them. Come back to your senses. We never asked you to do anything other than just be good to each other here and listen to Father, but...
Yeah, what was our crime when people walk away? Exactly, what was our crime?
You told them what they didn't want to hear. That's part of. There's a lot of people out there. They think they all been touched, and while a lot of them are correct, everyone gets touched by Father in a certain way. You know what I mean? Everyone have a special talent or ability, but it ain't all the same. And now there can't be 500 Cleopatras, baby. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just don't work that way. And so some people figure out, well, wait a minute, I guess I weren't that important. No, everyone important to Father, everyone. And you all going to have your place somewhere in the multiverse of his kingdoms. You can do or say or be anything you want. Father opened up his mansions. Boy, when they say you have no idea what's in store for you, that's the truth.
Oh, yeah.
There are worlds out there so beautiful. You're going to be kings and queens and rulers of planets and maybe even whole solar systems, man. That's Father's plan. And then you got all the bad ones telling you, oh, no, you're just going to be a innkeeper. You're going to be a plumber. Yeah, that's what you're going to be this life. In the next life, you're going to be an electrician. You're going to cut someone's hair, do their nails. That's what you're going to be doing next, right? Do you think Father put you here for that?
Yeah, really.
I mean, think about it, man. You think, they want you here to work your ass off all the time, generate all this power, energy, all this, they just suck it all up and they absorb it all and they're all walking around glowing and they think it's a beautiful time. A lot like that picture up there. See how that all lights up like that? Well, that's how they are when they're feeding on all y'all, right? They want you around. You their dinner bell. Tasty too, boy. You could be all kinds of flavors, and they feed on you from above and below. Yeah, so it worked out okay as long as they didn't mess with y'all, let you live what you want to do, live your own life fine. I think humans would even come to understand fine. You provide the world and all this other stuff for us. Okay, great. You feed on our energy when you need to.
But they cross the line.
But you cross the line when you start messing with kids. That's where it all went wrong. It all started there, and it always does. And there's some jealous gods out there that they want the death and destruction of the humans because they scared. I shouldn't say it. Scared that you gonna figure out exactly who and what you are, because when you do, it's gonna be not tonight for all the bad boys and girls. Y'all have infinite power. And wait till y'all figure out how to tap it. And it's got a lot to do with emotion, but it's got a lot to do with your will, and it has a lot to do with your heart. You get those 3 things worked out, Father gonna use you in ways you can't even imagine. And they coming your way. One way or another, you gonna be tested. Hey, y'all, you know, when y'all remember back in school, when you're getting ready to take a big test, you know, you're going to finish up the year, and you've been studying and studying, you know that information. You can't wait to take that test, because you know when you finish that test, you got a brand new year coming your way, okay? Plus you got all summer. You couldn't wait. Remember that? And then you blew that test out of the water. It was a wonderful feeling. You felt so good, and you had a free summer as a kid. Man, you went back to school next year. Hey, man, I'm a senior now. Look at me. Yeah, baby. Oh, y'all, just about there. Can you just come on in for the win? You know what I mean? Father just sitting there waiting. He got his arms open. You about ready to cross the finish line. You in first place, and then all of a sudden you just stop and say, I don't know if I believe it.
Really?
And you turn your back and you walk away from Father.
Really?
What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you?
And they know who we're talking to.
You know who we're talking to.
Yes.
And then there's others of you. You turn your back at first and I don't believe none of it. Y'all all possessed and this and that. And then we hear back from you again. 'Cause we told you not to do it. But you couldn't help yourself, could you? You had to. We gave you good advice. We weren't looking for nothing but for you to have a better life. That's what we wanted to give you. And you laugh in our face and walk away, and then the power of Father come down on you after that. All of a sudden, everything you thought, it won't right. All you used to have is gone. You sold yourself when you could have had it all. Man.
Say in the Bible, 30 pieces of silver.
30 pieces of silver.
Yeah.
It still even ain't too late for all y'all. You know, that Law 1 is pretty powerful stuff. What experience do you have? But, well, I probably already said too much, didn't I? Or deal.
Yeah, you did.
Sometimes I get going and I just, you know, I'm a passionate man, or I was in my
Sam's an
time.
angel.
Well,
Sam is one of my angel friends. And you guys have heard him before. He's spoken.
you can call it what. Look, you believe what you want,
You don't
people.
have to
You
believe it, but I'm
please
telling
don't. If you're not so inclined to believe my words, that's fine. Maybe you just listen to the intent of the words at least.
Yeah.
Y'all have no idea what Father has in store for you. It is worth every moment of suffering you're going through right now, because Father gonna give it all back to you. You have a birthright. Do you know that? You are real. You are true. You are powerful. You are an angel. We're all, the only difference, Father say, okay, I recognize you now. You in my army. And people think that's, oh, he's an angel. That can't be real. Y'all don't even know what angels are. You don't even understand us. Half of you laugh, and we're like, we're the angels, and you laughing at us?
Uh-huh.
I just like, yeah, you know, they got
That's
no
because
idea, do they? Ever deal?
They've been taught a lie, Sam.
And
so they have this image of what an angel is supposed to be. But angels can be fierce, too. Oh, boy. They're not all singing with harps.
Well, you know, that ain't a bad. I seen some television program too in here, watching that one called Lucifer.
Oh my God!
Y'all have no idea. That's getting kind of close right there to some of that.
Actually, we won't say who you look like.
I know they called me that a minute deal for a while. I said, that's not, my name is Sam. And I remember I told him, I told him that story about Gerald, but I had to tell another time. That nasty horse, I was a possessed horse. That was back when I was alive, but woo. Anyhow, I know, Aradil know what I'm talking about. We always yipping and yapping, but baby, ain't no difference. Okay, angels are people too. A lot of people were angels at one time. Half of them fell to this planet. Some of them are in the process of being reclaimed again by Father. How about that? You was bad, you fell to the earth. So, okay, I'm going to go through the program here. You know, I hear they got a good program, you know, some sit-ups and push-ups and whatnot. Well, let me tell you, man, it worked out for some of us.
Yes.
Yeah, we regain, there's some angels that regain, where you say their wings. Yeah, okay, we can fly.
Some of us got our wings back.
Yeah, it's a measure of Father's blessing. It's sort of like getting decorated if you in the military. You know, you put a little ribbon on your chest. Same thing. Your first ribbon is usually your wings, but then you got to do things with your wings. Yes, we have wings. I know people find that hard to believe too, but it's just a gift from Father is all it is. It helps us travel. We can move through space and time sometimes. We can do a lot of different things with these wings. We can enshroud ourselves with our wings and protect us, as some of this stuff is making out in the literature and the movies and stuff. I've seen, you know, some of them like, hey man, they some of these people know what we're doing. But most of the time we're here because we're on assignment from Father. And Father will give us an assignment, but within that assignment we do other assignments. Father don't just be like, hey, go down and save that fat lady who's about to step in front of that truck. All right, every once in a while, yeah, we get something like that. But most of the time, what it is just like, okay, you're going to be looking after this quadrant today, and let me know if you find or see or detect anything. So you go about your day, so you actually have sort of a life. I mean, I hang out with some of the fellas in the fourth, you know, laugh it up a bit. You know, hang out. I mean, just like friends would, and except that we are ready at a moment's notice to respond to Father. We're sort of like on call all the time, you know.
Conservatories in Homeland.
And that's another. Yeah, Father put his conservatory in a lot of different lands and times and places. And this is just one of the ways that you can directly connect with Father. But that's a whole other story. But anyhow, for those of y'all that have ears to hear, time is coming and many things are growing near. So keep your loved ones close. And remember, my dear, it's in the end you have to be with Father. And if you can always keep in mind and give a little bit of your heart to Father every day, He will release and unlock things in you that you can't even begin to imagine. There are things about you that you can't even imagine. You know, that's one of Aradil's gifts. She'll be able to look down the fate lines of some people and be able to see a glimpse, catch a glimpse of who they are. Or maybe she look deeper into it and then say, okay, I'm going to really look and see what I can see about this individual. And that helps them identify that kind of part of them that wants to come out, because that's usually the energy that stands up the most, you know.
Yeah.
It's jumping its way out. And Aradil will be like, you know, I noticed this about that person. I see this at that time period, and I see this event going on. And I'm like, man, that's pretty good. She could do that better than some of us can. And because she's been doing that for years and years. It's like anything. You get good at it if you repeat it over and over, right? So.
Oh, I've been doing it since I can remember.
Yeah, you've been doing it. And you know, we had, Aya was here the other day telling, yeah, man, I remember when you used to do that stuff. She did this stuff back when she was one of them Anunnaki types, you know. Part, I don't know, what the hell are you now? Part lion, part Lyran. I said lion.
Part Lyran, part angelic, part
Lion
human,
King, yeah,
part
like that fellow was
Anunnaki.
talking about. Yeah, all right, thank you very much. Damn. Yeah, and it's hard enough now for people to believe it. Now to hear all this and be like, yeah, right. Well, you know, it's just human nature they put in you, right? Because they want you to be like, you know, be very competitive. So that, you know, y'all always fighting each other for the same scrap of food. You know, hey, that bone's mine. No, that's mine. Meanwhile, they're sitting at the table eating all the food, and you get a few crumbs, and they even begrudge that to you, don't they? The sons of...
Yeah, that's okay. Father's bringing
Crawley
the
on,
strap.
that's what... Yeah, he bringing a big strap, man. He's going to be beating all them big old backsides. That's going to be a day to remember when it happened. But let me tell you, man, while Dad's away, the kids, boy, they're nasty. They're fighting, pulling each other hair, punching each other. And when Dad is stepping with the belt, oh, boy, everybody's going to take off running to their room, aren't they? Yeah, we'll see what happens. He's going to grab all y'all. They say, line them up. Whack, whack. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a beautiful day. Huh?
Oh, that's going to be beautiful, yes.
And with that note, Stephen A. Jones and the clan signing off from When the Ancients Speak. And I'll say it if they won't. Don't be afraid to go to the donate key. You know, send us 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks every now and then just to be on the good side of things, if you know what I mean. It doesn't hurt, and when you give, even a small amount makes a huge amount of difference, and we're also very thankful for all of you who remain and continue to remain on the cutting room floor. And for all of those other folks who have received messages today, congratulations. You know, every now and then we give back to the audience, so to speak, so we appreciate everything that you do. May the rest of your day, your week, your month, your year, and your life be beautiful. Blessings, love, and light.